Alright guys, so this week we're cracking on with the Sweeney Todd build and we're going to try and get that tunnel and the wall finished in the first room. So, let's get stuck in. Okay folks, so here we are back at it. It's been a pretty decent week if I'm honest, and we're basically just keeping his head down and getting going. Could really do with getting this tunnel out of the way and getting that finished off, but what we've got coming up a little bit later on in this episode is we've got some maglocks that we're starting to set in that's going to be helping with the concealed door and everything like that. Now, for anybody who hasn't realised, who hasn't watched one of these before, there's going to be some spoilers in this. So if you're ever planning on playing the Sweeney Todd escape room at Enigma Rooms Pontefract, probably best if you stop watching about now. There's plenty of other things that we've got on the channel that you can watch that can take your time up. So I'm not trying to shoo you away. Please feel free to keep on watching the channel. Just maybe don't watch the build videos of Sweeney Todd in particular. But anyway, here we go. So, like as before, it's pretty much myself on a daily basis that's popping in and doing the build. Like we said in episode 1, it's getting back to his roots. I'm really enjoying getting back into it and getting hands on with doing 100% of the build. But you might notice that we'll have a couple of faces popping up later in the video. But anyway, so as usual, I'll get you the usual disclaimer out of the way. I am no builder, so don't be taking advice from me on how to cut something, join something together, whatever, electrics, plumbing, you name it, wood butchery. None of that sort of shenanigans. I am no expert on any of that. So if you are an expert on any of that, feel free to put something in the comments and say what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, whatever you think. More the merrier. But get stuck in. So basically what I'm doing here is the other side of the tunnel wall, or the opposite tunnel wall, it needs to be set off of the wall a little bit from the actual wall. A couple of reasons. One, it's about as straight as a dog's leg. So we might as well just make his own. But also we're going to need to embed things in that wall a little bit later on down the line. But again, spoiler alert on some of that. So for the eagle eye watchers, you might be able to see another face down there. That one's Taylor. He's normally hanging around either Hull or Doncaster Enigmas. So if you do pop into one of those, say hi and greet him by his name. That'll really freak him out. Now basically what I'm starting to do here is I'm making a couple of little cubby holes that's going to be going into the tunnel itself, that's going to be set into the wall. So we're just getting those set together, and they're going to have a variety of things in there. This is more my sort of speed, sticking and gluing. Okay folks, so basically what we're doing here, we're going to be embedding a maglock into this piece of wood. Now, for anybody who's actually planning on doing something like this, set yourself out. What I've got there is a little jig, okay? It's not a little dance, it's a jig. And basically, what it makes it nice and simple for you to guide a router around the piece of wood the actual size of the maglock itself, so that you can sink it in. And you're not having to do it by eye, or you're not having to mess about with like doing all sorts of clamps and all that kind of stuff. No, let's make it as nice and easy as possible. So just make yourself a little jig that fits the maglocks that you are using, obviously, and then pretty much anybody is able to do it then. And it just gives it a nice finish. It's not just stuck on the side of a bit of wood. Look at that, it's almost like the kid's done it before. Now there's a couple of different types of maglocks out there, and there's loads of different strengths of maglocks. The one that we're using here is 180 kg strength maglock, and also it's a countersunk one. So if you notice, it's got the little tabs on the ends, and this one is meant to be sunk into a piece of wood or a door surround or something like that. The other types are meant to be stuck onto the side or the top of a door surround or something like that, but you can still sink those into a piece of wood or the surround. It just makes it look so much neater, and also it doesn't take you out of the immersion of what it is as much as something that's sort of like, you can't get away with the fact that you're going to see silver stripes from the actual maglock itself, or the piece of metal that sticks to the maglock. You can't get away from that bit, but it's better than it just being stuck out on a link. Now you'll notice as we get a little bit further on into the video that I avert disaster. Okay, so don't worry, that is coming up in the not too distant future. Look at that, doesn't she look beautiful? And this is where it's going to be going. So it's going to be getting embedded in the wall itself. That means that we have to do a couple of the bits and bobs to make it nice and neat and tidy. So again, while I'm putting the studs in there, I'm looking for the actual depth of the material that's going to be going in front of it. Look at this, only 3 attempts to make it fit nice and snug. And then we're cutting out the hole for the actual piece of metal for the mag lock to connect. And if you're doing a job, you might as well do it proper. Now, for anybody who's worked with MDF, otherwise known as fake wood, if anybody's worked with MDF before, you'll know that as soon as you put a paint pot anywhere near that stuff, anything that you've cut, any edges, anything like that, goes to the spikiest stuff you've ever known in your life. So the only way of truly getting around it and having a great paint finish is just by doing a few layers. You can start off by putting a bit of PVA glue, or there are some other additives and things like that you can brush on it before you paint it, and it stops spiking up quite as much and stops it going quite as rough. But I mean, in my opinion, there's no real point in paying for any fancy stuff like that. What you might as well do is either give it a quick brush of PVA, or just give it a very light brush of the paint itself, or an undercoat of the paint itself, or a white or something like that, and then just give it a very light rub down with something like a 180 grit paper, and just basically just take it off and then put another light layer of paint on, and just do that 2 or 3 times, and you'll notice that that'll give you a great paint finish. Right, so I'll always be the first to throw my hands up to something. I'll be totally straight with you. I don't have a clue why I cut that as low as I did. On the actual opening part to that, it should have been a little bit higher, but we'll address that in a little bit later on. Now you'll notice that I'm trying to change type. Ordinarily I've got a touch like a baby elephant and I would have just braided this in. But I'm trying to be nice and I'm trying not to do that. But sometimes you've just got to whack it. tell you what, these flaming cameras, they don't half get it way. And here we have it. Like I mentioned earlier, why on earth did I not cut it to the same height as the actual opening? Anyway, I like giving myself jobs, so here's another one. If anybody's interested in what is probably one of the most handy tools that you can get, it's one of these. They're called a multi-tool, and it literally comes in handy for practically everything. I know what you're all thinking, literally breathtaking carpentry skills. And back with that light touch yet again. There we go, easy does it. I'll buy that for $1. Right, so we're just going to cut a couple of rips to go across the top of the wall, and that's it. It's pretty much fully enclosed, apart from that massive gaping hole that's going to be a doorway. Skadoosh, what a fit. Now then, anytime now, those eagle-eye watchers will be saying, you don't want to do that, Nick, you don't want to do that. But, unfortunately, being a bit of an idiot, I didn't think about that at the time. And then all of a sudden, the penny drops. Here it comes, 3, 2, 1, boom. Yeah. How am I meant to wire that up? If I've already put the other side of the wall on, and I've just put this side of the wall on, unless I've got magical hands, I'm not going to be able to do it. So back off it all comes again. Yeah, there it is. Now then, luckily, for all mag locks and stuff like that, they tend to be just 2 wires, which is normally 12 volt, so very, very low voltage, and that tends to run most electronic props and stuff like that. A lot of different Arduinos and things like that will run on 12 volt, if not lower. So yeah, you don't need to be running loads and loads of cable, especially thick cables and everything like that, when you're building an escape room. And then back to my favourite pastime, vacuum. Love it. Constantly at it. But it is nice to work in a nice clean environment for a change. Alright guys, that's it for another week. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much for making it all the way to the end. And if you can, give us a subscribe and give us a thumbs up. We've had a decent week. The tunnels come on quite well and the walls come on quite well. We've already started to put a little bit of like wiring in there and stuff like that. But next week we're going to be able to get to do some fun stuff by starting to put up some of the brick effects and all that sort of stuff. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next week.